Okay, we're live. It's time to get started. We'll start as we always do with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance. We're going to start with a roll call because we have somebody joining online. So, Marilyn?
Here.
Here.
Present.
Present. Mike, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay,
Awesome.
Mike is there, and Mike Myers.
Yes.
And Mike Sprinkle is not.
Oh,
Okay. Next up, meeting minutes. I don't know if you had a chance to look through them from October the 11th. Any questions, corrections, additions, changes?
I reviewed them, no additions or corrections from my standpoint. Move to
Okay.
approve the minutes.
Motion approved by Tom,
Second.
second by Matt. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
aye.
Next up is the salary ordinance. Everything is what we approved, what we went through. This is just the final step to approve those wages.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Matt to approve,
I'll second.
second by Darren. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same
Aye.
sign. Next up, 2024 calendar of our council meetings. That is for informational purposes. Next up, we have the 2024 appointments to several boards. I've reached out to Natalie Smith from the Alcohol Beverage Commission. She will serve another one-year term.
We need the calendar approved, so I'll make a motion to approve the dates.
I'll second that.
Motion by Matt, second by Tom. All in favor, aye.
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 The 2024 appointments, these are people who've already said we will contact the rest of them here. They go effective January 1st, but we will finalize that on the December meeting. However, Natalie said yes to the alcohol beverage. Marilyn has said yes to the Community Corrections Advisory. Michael Kavanaugh has said yes to the Davis County Park Board, West Boggs again. Tom graciously said yes to SIDC. So we will contact the other three remaining, being the Board of Zoning Appeals, Davis County Redevelopment, Mike Haley, Tom Richardson, Washington's Economic Development, and the PTA BOA. Informational only. Next up, we have Purdue Extension Report.
Morning.
Morning, Cindy.
Hopefully you have copies of what I sent out with the agenda. For those in the audience, I'll leave some by the door as you're leaving. If you'd like to grab a copy, we'd love that. I just wanted to come before you and share some updates on what's happening with Purdue Extension. We're fully staffed. I'm not sure if the last time I was in here, we were still kind of holding on to waiting on our new 4-H youth development educator, but he has been with us since May. On the front page, you can kind of see some of the highlights for him this past year. We also, not pictured on here or stated in the update, is our new Haitian Community Outreach Coordinator, Pushan, is with us. He's been doing a great job. I don't know if any of you are on social media, but the health department put out some beautiful pictures of the event they had on Sunday down at Victory Community Church. So lots of good partnerships, activity happening between the health department and our office with Luis and Pushan and Jennifer and our staff. So Pushan is also with us. He's with us grant funded for about 24 hours a week. And then the other part of the time he's actually working for the health department. So that's been a really nice fit for our community. So we've got all of our educators who provided some updates on the things that are happening within our program areas. So I would be happy to answer any questions that you have or clarification that you need on anything. Not included there, but not a part of our contract, but a part of the benefits that you receive through the county as our nutrition education program person, Chris Clark, who covers 3 counties, and then our community wellness coordinator, who covers 4.
How are we progressing on the remodel for the 4-H The last building?
No, I
that-
think it's on pause, so that would be a good question for the 4-H Association, but I think I'm not sure exactly the details, but I believe there's been a little bit of a pause on that from a design standpoint and organizing kind of what that building's gonna look like, and I think there was still maybe a little bit of funding that they were needing.
Okay.
I did add, on behalf of Purdue, just 5 quick slides about the Purdue broadband team. It's a new initiative being pushed out by President Chang, the president of the university, with Roberto Gallardo. And I don't know in the broadband access workings that you've done, if you've been able to hear from Roberto or meet him. He was hired by Purdue for Purdue Center for Regional Development. President Chang became president and moved him into the Office of Engagement. So he's now next in command to the president of the university. He is at the lead for the state's plan for BEAD, how to spend that roughly $70 million that will be coming to the state for broadband access, adoption, and advancement. So across the nation, land grants are taking on the responsibility, because we're in all counties in most of the states, to push information out to the communities, mostly to improve digital access. So I did provide those slides. You'll be hearing hopefully more about that over the next few months. We're trying to help the state re-up their speed tests for the more we can show the speed tests and the accessibility limits, the more we'll be able to justify that funding from the feds. So we're very excited about that. And they really are incorporating not only the extension staff, but also 4-H members to get the message out to youth, our alumni, and then students. So really across the broad spectrum of trying to push the word out about the importance of not just access to broadband, but adoption as well.
Any other questions, comments for Cindy? All right.
Thank you very much. We appreciate your support.
Next up, Ready 2.0 grant. Nathan, I don't see Nathan here for West Boggs, but Grant or Bob, you guys, I know you won't mention it here, working for the water quality?
Do you still have your Post-its from that meeting, Bob?
So, I don't know a lot about this, other than a couple months ago, earlier this year, I met with Nathan a couple of times to see how we could help him with his water quality issue. So I believe that's the request, to include that as a project for West Boggs. Bob, I'm not sure if you know.
There was a meeting event with ROI, and it did come up in that listening session a few times. Nathan, the property manager, shared some information with me. We were going to discuss at our board meeting today to see if there's some resources that can help establishing that conservancy district, kind of a long-range solution, but yet ready funds, maybe to help with the creation of that organization and maybe some further analysis or whatever needs to be done to kind of get it on a path of a solution.
I think it really benefits the local economy if the water quality is improved, and people feel comfortable getting the water out there. So I was out there maybe middle of the summer, late in the summer, and there was the flag was up telling people don't go in. I'd been at another location up in northern Indiana where they had the exact same issue, but there are a lot of people water. So it's hard to know if we're over-warning people, but it's definitely an issue that needs to be addressed so that people feel comfortable getting into the water. And so I think that's Nathan's request. I think we're going to talk about it today.
I think Nathan's also going to an event tomorrow in Petersburg. There's a number of federal agencies gathered and try to pitch the project for mediation or whatever yeah.
And he's presented to council a handful of times. It was a pretty big number to address the issue is what he thought. So I think he's looking for avenues to potentially pay for that.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. I know we were invited to one 4 months ago, so at West Boggs, so. Very good.
Thanks.
Thank you. The other part of it is Matt was going to talk, he's been dying to talk about the Ready Grant.
Yeah. I'll be really brief. There was a number of, well, Bob was there, a number of elected officials that were there as well. With the Ready 2.0, if you're familiar with the Ready Grant, it was, Daviess County benefited with some infrastructure at Westgate and some other projects. This year, they kind of made it just infrastructure projects. It can't be ongoing payroll type of things. One of the key things that came out of that was what kind of infrastructure is going to help. Housing is a big deal. Like we have the water issues at Odin and Montgomery, and how do we help fix that? And what other big projects are in Daviess County to that effect? They have a number of key performance indicators that they're looking for in this project, and I'm going to point you, I don't want to bore you with that, so go to indianaready.com and check it out. But it's all about, you know, population growth, housing development, child care capacity for people and employment, educational attainment for people. I could go into detail, but I'll bore you. Please go to Indiana Ready and look at that. But again, we're looking at different avenues to make the county a better place, and with a lot of different organizations that are part of that. Pretty exciting. Hopefully we get that. I think we can get up to, in our region, 75 million, and that would be huge if we could get that here and help out our region. So that's all I'll say on that. I know we got a tight schedule today.
All right, thank you. Next up, Maysville Properties. This is the area's conformatory resolution. This is just the standard 10-year straight life that we have approved before. This is just the final step.
Yep, there was an expression of interest to move forward with this a couple months ago. At your last meeting, there was a declaratory resolution, which is mentioned in this confirmatory resolution. So this would be the last step in the process. I believe some folks are here. If there are any questions about that, was a approximately $5 million expansion. The request is for a straight line 10-year abatement, starting at 100 and dropping off 10%, 90, 80, 70 per year. If there are no questions, if there's no other comments, again, you've got a confirmatory resolution in front of you. This has been advertised for today for public hearing and comment. And so we'll see if there is any public comment or anything additional before passage of this final step.
And we've already approved it, so this is just for us to sign later.
Well, you've approved taking the steps, and today, if you're
Okay.
taking that last step, then you'll approve the final resolution.
Look for motions to, if there's no questions, to approve the confirmatory resolution.
So
Maysville
moved.
Properties.
So moved.
Moved by Matt.
Second.
Second by Tom. Marilyn had her hand up, but second by
sorry,
Tom.
Marilyn.
That's fine.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Mike on there.
He's dropped off.
Okay. Opposed, same sign. Okay. We will sign that after the meeting. Thank you. Next up, quick impact facade.
Well, I'm not Amber,
Well, looks
so
like
I apologize for that.
I was waiting for her to jump, and I saw you get up.
Jeremy Adams with Discover Downtown. I think you all have received a copy of the expenditures and things for the Quick Impact Facade Grant. There was $17,500 directed directly towards the grant from the county, and then another $2,500 for marketing expenses. That first page there, I'm not sure, I think we've updated this since I've got, I don't know if you have 3 pages or 2. Looks like, I see Tony's there, you've got the same that I've got. So the marketing expense report there on the right, you can show where the marketing dollars have been spent. And then the facade grant there, or excuse me, the marketing expense on the left, facade grant on the right. You can see how those dollars were spent and the businesses that were awarded those grants. We haven't actually awarded those dollars yet for the grant. We're waiting on the completion of those projects and receipts and things to be turned in for those. So hopefully here soon. I know we're kind of getting into the winter months and some work will be delayed, but hopefully we'll be able to expend those soon. On the back page there, you can kind of see a breakdown per business of what was invested. The 40,000 total by the city and county. Individual investment right now is at a minimum of $280,016.96 for a total of $315,016.96. There are some lines that are zeroed out there across on that last page for the additional investment to the building, and that's really just because they didn't necessarily not spend the money, we just haven't gotten the report for that yet. So at a minimum right now, with the 40,000 invested by the city and county, we were able to leverage around 280,000 private investment back into the downtown district. And there'll still be more dollars to come as we get those reported in. And I'm sure there may be some give or take there as work is done. So,
Fantastic.
yeah,
And it looks
Great
good.
work.
yeah.
If you're having trouble pulling it up, here's a hard copy if you want.
We got it.
Okay. If you are down Main Street, steel's going up in the air today
Yeah.
and making a lot of noise, and it
Yep.
looks good.
Yeah, a lot of progress in that area, so, yeah. Just, and I'm sure as we move along, we start to award some of those grants and we see some of that stuff, we'll come back with a final update and numbers as we get all that as well.
Questions for Jeremy?
I appreciate it. It's exciting.
Yeah, all right, thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Certified Community Behavioral Health Clinic, letter of support. You're up.
Good morning.
Morning, Brock.
My name is Brock Lowe. Last time I was here was actually a couple months ago. I was speaking with the county commissioners, and I was an employee of Good Samaritan Hospital. Since that time, we've transitioned, and myself and about 150 of my colleagues, and we now work for an entity called the Family Health Center. Still providing the same service, same staff, serving a lot of the same clients in the schools, work closely with the hospital, criminal justice system here, predominantly providing behavioral health services. Darren actually sits on our board, so, well, our council, so he can fill you in on all the details if you guys want to know more at some point. But I'm here today to ask for a letter of support for a new entity that's coming out from the state called CCBHC, which stands for Certified Community Behavioral Health Clinic. There's a lot of acronyms in healthcare, and they're always changing. Essentially, a couple big changes for us. What this would mean, we have about 25 to 30 staff that work here, therapists, psychiatrists. We actually do provide primary care services now out of our facility down the road off State Street. We serve roughly 700 clients over the last calendar year. And so this will allow us to expand access to services. This will change our funding source. Predominantly, majority of our clients have Medicaid insurance, and that's the populations that we were designed to serve. So majority of our funding comes from the state in that sense, in the feds. So CCBHC will allow us to include our expenses in our rate to then be reimbursed in theory at cost. So it's a really positive thing for us and for what we do. And so we have an application that we're going to be submitting later this month on the 15th. So I'm here today to ask for a letter of support from the county council for that endeavor. And answer any questions you guys may have in relation to that.
Obviously, I received the email. We'll check the verbiage. I don't see anything wrong with it, anything at all. You guys have any questions, or Darren, you want to?
No, I mean, I think they're doing great things. Again, the transition has gone fairly smooth.
Yeah.
From Good Samaritan, and
Sir.
I think they're marching and moving out.
I will get that letter, and I will get it to the auditor's office, and they can get it to you.
Okay. All right. Thank you all. Thank you. All right.
I'll make a motion to approve the letter.
Second.
Second by Darren, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Courthouse renovation grant, you want to talk about the?
informed about where we're at here. You've all seen the timetable. Initially, it was going to be September, where you would be passing a potential bond ordinance. Okay, and we've had that on the agenda, but we've delayed that because we wanted to see what the bids came in at. They came in fairly close to what was estimated, which is still below what's been approved by the council, and that number was $12 million as a budget. So the ordinance that you'll have in front of you today relates to specifically the borrowing of money. It doesn't mean that you're necessarily going to do it. It just means that this is the first step that happens in a 60, 90-day process, okay? So the couple of things that you did back in August, and then this first ordinance would be an adoption of a bond ordinance, and then also an introduction of an appropriation ordinance. An appropriation ordinance is something that'll happen later if you choose to continue to proceed with borrowing money. Okay? The total max project that we talked about was $12 million. The total max amount of a bond that you've specified was $5 million. That would mean a delta of $7 million. And I know that, unless you all change your mind, that's what the information is. I know there's been discussion about having additional meetings because it's getting close to the amounts, but it's your call on the fiscal side and as the fiscal body. My other request together with this, we've got, and Tony and I talked a little bit about this, we've got quotes on rates. It's about 2 months old. The Indiana Bond Bank has changed quite a bit and kind of gotten close to where the market's at. And so I guess it would be my preference to refresh those quotes or bids on the rates. Because the rates that we got 2 months ago, it's not going to be the same thing now, right? It moves constantly.
Would it be just the two bidders that we had, or are we gonna open it up and try again to get the best we can for the county?
My thought would be, and it's your call, I guess, but we didn't have to bid that out. We could just be like, hey, we want to go with Indiana Bond Bank, for example. But we did that. We only had a couple of responses, but also I don't think it helps us to not send it back out to everyone. I know there's different opinions about that.
Can't hurt.
Well, we're only going to get our best rate with competition. So that's just my opinion. And certainly we can pick whoever we want. Just say, give us your best rate, which is, if you're borrowing money for any type of project, you're probably going to talk to a few different places, potentially, depends on how much money you're borrowing. But if you've got a relationship with someone, sometimes you just go to the bank and say, this is what I'm looking for. Can you help me? If you've got deposits there or whatever the case may
So
be.
what were the timelines on the original quotes in terms of when they
On the-
expired?
On the original quotes, I'm not sure. I think they're lower than what they would be now, although the Fed's held, I think prime is what, 8.5? Still, so it was held steady. We don't know what it's gonna be when we get to that point. And we didn't need the money at the time when we got the quotes. So sure, we had a low quote, what we thought was a low quote or a low bid on that rate. But if we don't need the money, if we don't need the debt, it doesn't make sense. We can't move ahead at the time when we had that. So hope that answers the question.
It's a 20-year fixed. Right,
Well, no, I mean, how long was the
quote's
quotes?
good.
yeah.
Were it 60-day, 30-day on the quotes in terms of,
Bond rate.
Obviously, I can't talk
obviously.
I can't remember.
because I'm one of the people who bid. Logistically, though, I can talk about logistics.
Yeah, you can talk about it in a general
Okay.
sense. Your opinion is
Logistics,
helpful.
it was only 15 days, 10, 15 days,
Oh, okay.
both parts. So
Okay. I couldn't,
out
I
of
couldn't
the,
remember.
it's out of the window.
Nobody's gonna work on this for quite a while. I mean, it's We have delayed, tabled the bond ordinance 2 meetings, so 2 months. That's fine. If the county doesn't need the money, borrow it, right? Now it looks like we're gonna need it, so
Really good for 15 days though, it doesn't. Yeah. Yeah, that's the point.
The institutions have to have time to come up with what rate they're going to do now. And what,
Jason called me and said, hey, my opinion is that back out, but you guys don't want that to happen, I guess. I think you get your best rate by getting it out of the market and getting it.
Regardless, we need to adopt this ordinance.
Regardless, you need to adopt the bond ordinance, which fits within the parameters we'll have approved. Wanting to make changes, you still can. Actually, this was drafted back in August, so it actually says not to exceed $6 million. Well, $5 million doesn't exceed. So it still works, but I want to and
obviously, we know what the bids came in, but until the meetings to check into that and see what can be done differently, ironically, is tomorrow, then we'll know more.
no more tomorrow.
But still, this body is not going to borrow more than 5, regardless. Period. So, even though Baker Tilly says we can do more with all our discussions earlier on, that was the number we said not to exceed, so from that standpoint, nothing's changed.
That posture really helps. Make sure, hey, we got.
So really what we're doing here, we can change or modify, but we need to approve the bond ordinance. Even though it says 6 million, but we're still not, this group's not going to do anything more than 5. We'll approve the bond ordinance. You can check with Jason, Baker Tilly, Jason Simler, and then we'll go from there on contacting financial institutions in Indiana Bond Bank.
Correct. And on my timeline, I'm also introducing an appropriation ordinance. It's just in draft format, very simple. It's something that won't happen today, but I'm simply introducing that. So from November the 8th, if we change what was September the 27th to November the 8th, essentially you've got just shy of 60 days on when we could then sell bonds. You can pull the plug at any point if you choose not to do this, but this is the step that needs to happen to keep us on track and keep the project's going to happen. We need to do it. So I would request passage of a bond ordinance, receipt of this appropriation order.
Additional questions for Grant? If not, I will seek that a motion to approve the bond ordinance.
I so move.
So move by Darren, second by Marilyn. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, all we're doing here is make a motion to approve that we're in agreement to sell, the commissioners have already done this, the real property of the old salt building, and it's had an appraisal, so it cannot be sold less than the $95,000. So we are just saying, they're the executive branch, they have approved it, but we're approving that we agree that it can be sold to anyone in the general public, at least for the appraised value.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Tom,
Second?
second by Matt. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Okay. Now, our ordinance amendments. First up, Julie Berry, E91 dispatch. We can do her two together. $600 for part-time help to cover salary for the rest of the year. $2,050 to cover salary for the rest of the year on part-time. Her two will be done together.
Motion to approve.
Moved to approve by Marilyn.
I'll
Second by Tom, all in favor, aye.
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 Pose same sign. This next one looks a little funny. We need to prove $1 for the motor vehicle fund. What happened on the resolution was they rounded the salary down and you can't make less than what was posted. So this person is making $1 less. So evidently it was just over, and so probably costing us 95 cents here, but can't make less than what was posted, so we need to approve $1 for motor vehicle fund. I
So
think that'll
moved.
pass.
Second.
First by Matt, second by Tom, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Both same sign. Nice to be legal. West Boggs, Nathan has a request. The general fund to move from customer service manager to labor to cover additional labor costs, $16,935.62, non-taxpayers' money.
So moved.
So moved by Matt, second by Marilyn, all in favor, aye.
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 Pose same sign. Yep. Because,
So with that,
We-
their summer help that they have continued to use due to people, I guess, still camping or whatever, their explanation be, but we did not have enough funds to pay payroll, so with this, we needed to be able to approve it backdating from our last payroll.
I'll amend my, to approve.
and you second the amendment?
Second.
Okay, all in favor again, aye?
Aye.
And we had discussed it at the time, but even though they didn't appropriate enough, it's not like they weren't gonna get paid.
Right.
So we had to make that official. Community corrections. Base manager, $77.82. From income, transfer request amount needed for the last payroll 2023. We will do, community corrections has several here. 7782, then we have $1,512.15. Transfer to cover payroll to the end of the year. $920.01 from Project Fund 1122, cover payroll from the end of the year. Same as $1,012.22, likewise payroll to the end of the year. And $863.23 to cover payroll to the end of the year. That would be
And to-
5 of them.
And to my understanding, she works 2 budgets, and she didn't split it correctly, so she's moving in her funds from one fund to the other.
6, there should be 6 requests. You'd think in banking I could count better. There is 6. Motion to approve the transfers. Marilyn first, Darren second. Everyone, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And there's a lot to sign. Don't run away at the end. Next up, school liaison grant for Kelly. Contract services, shortage of funds to move that to the wages fund. An amount of $15,000. And we, I did my head up.
Oh, there,
So-
okay.
We said so moved.
Yeah, I had a question.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
good,
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
good.
Yeah, on the, yeah, you got a question?
No.
Okay.
Do we have a motion?
No, I'm waiting on you. I'm
Oh,
looking at
okay,
you.
no, I didn't know if it was you had a motion or we were at a second. No, okay, I'll make the motion.
Motion by Darren to approve the transfer. Second by Tom. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. At our last meeting, we had this here discussion from Tyler, came in and talked about autopsies. How- What's required, or Men and Brown could say, but we're basically short on coverage on the autopsies. He needs transfer, he needs 20,000 additional money because the funds are low. Been more autopsies this year than we have in the past, more than was budgeted.
We didn't take any action last meeting on it?
spoke about it, but we didn't take legal action.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Matt to approve.
I'll second it.
Second by Tom, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Commissioner's ambulance contract, obviously we pay, we can say 600,000, but due to rounding, it's 595 something. The hospital bill is 2 months in arrears. This is catching up. This is paying to the end of the year. This is paying this month and the month that they constantly bill behind. So this is 2 months' pay. Yep,
So are we always gonna be 2 months in arrears?
not now.
Okay, so
We will be
this will
month to month.
catch us up because,
This will catch us up at every
Okay.
month, and they have been told to be a little more prompt and not be behind in arrears.
okay. Okay. Yeah, okay.
Question? Motion to approve the transfer by Marilyn, second by Darren, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. County elected officials, Jen, transfer.
So this is the elected training fund. There was some additional expenses that would be under by the end of the year, so we're just asking for that to be appropriated.
Questions, comments? Motion approved
So moved.
by Matt, second by Darren, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Scott, you want to mention this one?
Glad to answer any questions, or I can give you a summary of what it's about, whatever your time allows.
Just explain a little bit better. So these radios
Yes, these,
are, yeah, they're separate than their standard
they're different
radios.
from what we use daily. Daily, we use VHF radios. These are 800 megahertz. These are used by the state agencies, federal agencies. So the only way we can communicate with them by radio is on these type of radios. 9/11 incident, that's what the commission come out and said, that first responders can't talk to each other. And so they came out with this 800 megahertz system. The state put it out, they hold it, and so they use it daily, the state does. They don't use the VHF system, so.
But this is only going to law enforcement.
This round is only going to law enforcement. I'm hoping next year I can apply and get fire. Fire right now currently has some of the old radios. They have about 3 radios per department. And so we're hoping next year we can apply again and get fire radios, EMS radios, and update the EMA radios. So this covers all of Daviess County law enforcement, Odin Police Department, Washington Police Department, and the Sheriff's Office.
And it's a grant to cover. I mean, it's a grant.
It's a grant, yes. It's 100% reimbursable grant. It goes through Indiana Homeland Security. Current radios that we have that came off the grant, that came out back for 9/11, they're getting 12 years old and not repairable, not serviceable. So they're getting unreliable in some issues.
So this is just replacing those.
Yes,
It's covered by the grant.
yes.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second that.
Motion approved by Matt, second by Tom, all in favor, aye.
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 Opposed, the same sign.
Thank you.
Thanks for applying, getting the grant.
Next up, we have a report from West Boggs for informational purposes, and then we also have the request of concessions, moving some program supplies and to pay utilities at $49,000. Once again, their money, non-taxpayer money.
Move to approve.
Approved by Darren,
Second.
second by Marilyn, all in favor, aye.
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 Opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. Next up, we have some transfers. Transferring Community Crossings Grant, part-time supervisors to equipment leasing for $9,831.28. Social Security to equipment leasing for $841.33. Motion to change that within the Community Crossings Grant Fund, 9,100 for the transfers.
So moved.
So moved by Tom,
Second.
second by Darren, all in favor, aye.
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 Pose same sign. Once again, E911, paying from part-time money to dispatcher, $600, $2,050. Motion to approve.
So moved.
So moved by Matt. Second by Marilyn, all in favor, aye.
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 Opposed, any same sign. And next, from the school liaison, from contract services, to pay Social Security Medicare for $1,000, contract services to wages, $15,000, as we discussed earlier. Motion to approve.
So moved.
So moved by Tom for the transfer.
I'll second.
Second by Darren, all in favor, aye.
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 Opposed, the same sign. We discussed this on this $1, but this is overtime, so we have to approve the $1 overtime separately.
So moved.
I don't make the rules. First by Marilyn,
Second.
second by Darren, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed on the $1, same sign. Prosecutor pretrial from the DBF fund to staff and law enforcement of $3,000.
What's DBF?
Road by fund.
Move to approve.
Move to approve by Darren,
Second.
second by Matt, all in favor, aye.
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 Opposed, the same sign. Also from Dan on the prosecutor, move from the equipment maintenance account to the furniture and fixtures account of $1,500, and for the bank recorder's dock to furniture and fixtures of $1,000, $2,500 total.
What are we getting?
Yeah.
Prep for the move.
Okay.
What was it?
Prep for the move.
Oh, wow.
Try to get that money spent over there.
Was that a moan or a groan or what?
Every time you say prep, it always is bad.
Well, you better do it now.
I'll make a motion to approve both of
I
those.
was wondering if we are gonna get one. Motion by Mr. Meredith,
Second.
second by Marilyn, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. No wonder Mike dropped off the call. Finally, from the corner, from equipment to pay his dues of $600.
Move to approve.
Move to approve by Tom. Second by Marilyn, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. We have also informational in your packet, Hospital Finance Committee packet from DCH. We have the Davis Martin Joint Parks Recreation Board, and you have your fund balance by account numbers. Any questions from anyone here on the council?
Amber, did you want to say something?
Questions or comments from anybody? They're awful quiet.
Gotcha.
Question from Mr. Schwarzentrooper.
I'm just asking you to, as we're going through the bond process, there may be additional meetings, talk about cutting costs or doing this or doing that. So just, we can set a meeting with 48 hours notice. So I guess just be mindful of that. And if you can't make it, it's okay, but would love to have full participation and appreciate your input as we go along on this. That's all.
So you're saying the next month won't be any different than the last 2 months?
Very good.
Anything from the audience? I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved by Matt, second by Tom, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
We won't ask for objections. We are adjourned.
Thanks, everybody.